Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It is Pam Esquire, also known as Your Law Intellect. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday. Good to see you all piling in. Please do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. So y'all know why we're here. We're here for our daily dose of Diddy. Okay. I have been somewhat looking at the Twitter. It looks like the first person to testify was a forensic expert, and they were going over the video. I said, y'all not slick. They going over this video over and wait a minute. They go watching them kick them in slow motion, watching them do this. And he's like I could totally see what they were doing. Like the jury had to watch it over and over. Well, what's happening in that frame? Oh, the man in the towel is kicking her. What's happening now? If you look at this angle, does this angle correspond with this angle showing? Wait a minute, let's play that again. Then they show him again where he kicking her and stuff. Then he's like, okay, so are you saying the timestamp on that video and the other angles on the timestamp is not the same? Wait, play that again, play that again, play that again so the jury could see that all over again. They have probably watched the heck up out this video over and over again on today. All right. And the purpose was, remember, there were suggestions that the video was not, it was altered in some way. So what the government did was they got someone on the stand to basically say it wasn't altered, but there's some technological reasons, I suppose, behind why one timestamp doesn't match the other timestamp and all of that. So I assume the defense is going to come on and say it's altered. I don't know how it's going to help them because the kicking and the fighting and you apologizing, China is what it is. But I guess, when you out here fighting for your life, you got to say, do what you got to do. But that was the forensic person. So I wasn't really trying to, go in there. But right now, unless they switch witnesses already, because Jane Doe was supposed to actually testify this afternoon, but they have the young lady who filed the lawsuit, I believe, in California, saying that Diddy had held her over over a balcony, had her dangling over a balcony. So she testified, and when they first started off, that's what we gonna start at, okay? Diddy needed some help. I just cannot believe some of this alleged stuff that they're saying that he has done. But the government is piling it on and piling it on and piling it on. And ain't too many people, they don't got a problem, with coming forward now to say how all of the stuff that they endured. And he just sounded like he was always on demon time. Like he just woke up. And for like one of them testified about what moods he was in and his mood swings and stuff like that. I don't know. I just don't know, y'all. Hey, people, Paradox Lady Trucker, good to see you. Thank you so much. I wish I was, child. Well, actually, they did say I lost like 5 pounds from last week when I went to the doctor today, but I don't know where that came from. But thank you for noticing. I appreciate it. Kelly said, "Hey Pam, Intellects, this live is right on time." Well, I hope so. You from Boca Raton, Florida? I got a few bill collectors from that area. Yeah, they watching it frame by frame. But you know what that is? Like they gonna keep watching it over and over and over and over again. Man, Ebony. And I do. I am one of the people that need to hear the psychology behind some of this stuff because as a person that has walked away from relationships that just weren't fitting because they had them little tantrums, or walked away from jobs regardless of how it would have rose me up to the top, I just, no, you're not gonna just keep treating me any old kind of way. I can't relate to it. I like what people are willing to endure just to be in his vicinity and his presence is just, and I understand if you're in the entertainment industry, then there were certain people that were gatekeepers and you had to be cool with somebody in order to get in. But the compromising that happens, I just can't, and I don't want to, like I said, I'm in the middle of it because I really have come to the conclusion watching this trial that the media is organized ignorance. Okay. Sometimes when people go to school like that, this is why you have people saying they want to take Black history out of school or taking books out because education is organized ignorance. We choose what we want you to know and we keep you oblivious to everything else. And watching this trial and watching the commentary that some people have, it's like if you believe some of the stuff they were saying, you're like, it's so many different views and takes of the same trial. And just imagine how we used to get all of our information from the news before really we had all of this YouTube and social media. And honestly, the most accurate information, in my opinion, has been from YouTubers. Like you got Armand who comes out and he just is descriptive and like he was there, and it's something, he'll say like, "No, Diddy got punched in the eye today," or he'll say, "No, Diddy got a win," and he'll describe what happened. People still are not going to agree with what it is, but at least you're giving the information so people can come up with their own assessments and conclusions. Although at the end of the day, it don't matter what we think. We are not jurors. So it don't matter. But I just, the process, this is what I do. So the fact that people are so into it excites me. Like they really want to go beyond Law and Order. They really want to go beyond Annalise Keaton. They really want to see how this process works. But when I tell you the way some of this reporting is, it's like, that is not what RICO is. And people are just, you know what that is? I've heard that 5,000 times. It's a RICO, everybody. That's what that is. It's like, no, that's not how that works. But those are usually the ones with the highest amount of subscribers. And so they have the highest views. And so you're perpetuating the ignorance all out and through the media. So it's very troubling. I just thought I'll share that before I show this Twitter. Good to see you, Denise. Good to see you, Wanda. TACO said, my 10-year-old came home telling me about some of her classmates not saying bright things. I think they get it from their households. And the reason why I say organized ignorance is because a lot of this stuff, like it's organizations, you know what I'm saying? So you may think that you are able to take it for its word. Some people will say, oh, if it came from this entity, it gotta be right. Which means that if people have that perception, they could tell you anything and you're just going to believe what they say. That's what was frustrating me about the whole Desiree situation. I had to let homegirl know, ma'am, I'm going to do both. I'm not going to have my platform ignorant to both sides because I feel like this side is more clickbaitish. That's not what I'm going to do. I am going to do both sides and then we'll follow it and see what the end's going to be like we always do. But they prefer ignorance so you can only get one side. And I'm just not going to do that. All right. I'm gonna give Diddy his licks when he need them, and I'm gonna give when the government then took the L, they gonna get it too. And at the end of the day, we can all make predictions if we want to, but we're not any of the jurors. We don't know the demeanors. I've heard things about the jurors and how their expressions were and how they was looking, people reading minds and everything. Now we can't always. Hey, Ty, it's good to see you. Hood Mayor said you don't want your chat filled with organized or unorganized. What? I don't even know what that means. Um, Jason said, "Oh, you weren't talking about me. Talking to me. I have to deprogram my child daily. Everything they're teaching isn't correct or doesn't give the full." No, and then even they are teaching text messaging shorthand, right? And I was just talking about, like, why would you do that? And half of these kids can't even create a correct sentence. Like, they can't even conjugate. They don't know pronouns. Like, they don't even know where to put a comma. And we about to teach them that LOL means laugh out loud. We're gonna teach them RO, rolling on the floor. Like, I learned some of the stuff on what it meant by the textbook of my daughter. I'm like, why does she not need to know how to just talk regular English and to be able to hold a coherent and intelligent conversation? I don't know. Just forget about it. Just no need to actually be able to write your own letter. I guess that's what they got Chat GPT for now. To the point now where I guess teachers have to, I guess there's some type of software or something or some way to see if Chat GPT is being used. Yeah, it's gonna be used. Like, we had stuff when I was younger, like Cliff Notes, for those that remember that. Like, you had that for Macbeth and all of those thusses and thous and all of that. But you still read your stuff. Like, you still read it. You just was like, listen, this is a little tough for me. And what the teachers would do is they would try to do questions that weren't in the Cliff Notes to make sure you weren't using them. But it's a way, like, they want you to be ignorant and unlearned. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it. Hey, Siri said we are moving away from the Oxford Common Literature anyway, so kids don't really need to learn proper grammar and sentence structure. What are you? Huh? We're not moving away from that in the legal arena, so I've never heard of that. But I don't think that has anything to do with saying you don't need to learn proper grammar and sentence structures. How do you understand contracts? When people put and I'm not talking about anything big, I'm saying your apartment. You need to be able to read your apartment leases and add provisions that you need or change provisions that you need. You need, just in everyday life, they have you signing privacy notices and waivers and all type of stuff. Like, how do you not think that that is important to be able to respond correctly to stuff like that in life? You shouldn't have to get a lawyer for everything because you just don't want to learn how to be an adult and respond. I don't know. AI can help when they have to do essay exams. Listen, Diamond Pearl, let me tell you something. There are lawyers right now fighting for their life and a license because of AI. Because we are in the beta era. That means we are feeding all these AI systems. They're getting it off of us. So now you got some AIs that are giving fake cases. And there are lawyers that, so you'll put in there, I have this issue and I need some case law in support of my position, which is A, B, C, D, and E facts. You put it in there, they're feeding you cases that don't even exist. And it sounds really, really good. and you like, oh, I done found the case that's gonna help me win. Then you throw that in a brief, and then the judge is like, we're having an emergency hearing. And there are a couple of lawyers that are fighting for their bar licenses because of that, all because it was easier and quicker. So do I say that you shouldn't utilize AI at all? No, because I've utilized it. But you utilize it on top of what you know already. This is why I am saying that we are feeding these systems with what we put in there. We are the newer generations of AI. So the next generation is going to have a more thorough and accurate AI than what we are having. So that's all. You said AI needs someone to correct them. It's been a couple of research engines that I use that I've actually contacted them. Like, this ain't even right. Like, this is old law. Our law changed in the last 3 years. So you guys know that because I told you that. So now you're gonna revamp it to show what the old law was, let them know it's not good law anymore, and now the statute changed. So you're not even necessarily keeping up with the law as it is progressing. That is very dangerous if you are not actually verifying what comes out. And it's easy to verify cases. Diva314 said, if you look at the bottom of those AI things, they say the information may not be correct. Yeah, because you're not about to sue them. Like, if you choose not to double check what we give you, that's on you. That's not on us. Okay. We put our disclaimer that whatever we push out may not be it. So whose fault is it if you use it as is? Yours. Lady Builder said, I do not like Diddy at all. I think that might be the general consensus, but he deserves a fair trial. He does deserve due process just like everyone else. And I was just having a conversation with Dev earlier, and I was like, what's interesting to me is until it hits someone's home, they don't care about other people or their due process if they've been wrongfully accused, convicted, any of that. They don't care. It's like it don't hit my home, but as soon as it hits your home, you want it to be priority for everybody. So you're willing to go over and beyond, and you want everybody to believe the police is corrupt. What that department been corrupt? But when it wasn't your son or it wasn't your daughter, you didn't give a damn. But that's how it is. And so in these situations, even when you dislike a person and you may be in your mind like he cooked, it's a wrap. Let a jury of his peers weigh the evidence and say, yep, he's cooked, it's a wrap, as opposed to we're just going to go ahead and say that he's guilty without it being proven. And that's it. That's all I try to get everyone to consider while you're over. I'm not saying you got to like him. I put that disclaimer out there about, he ain't my fave. But what I will say is that you got to hold the government to their proof, because what will happen? Same thing that happened with Weinstein when he was accused of a lot of this stuff. He is in trial right now, I think. Why? He came back down because of overzealous prosecution, adding a lot of bad acts in a case, even though it was about a couple of people that he was actually charged with. You did all the bad acts of people that just said he did it or said he did that or actually assaulted them. And because of all those bad acts, he was able to come back down and get a new trial. Even though he hanging on for dear life. Like they told him, you can come on Zoom on your deathbed. That's how much they want Weinstein. They was like, we'll do a special accommodation. You can stay in your hospital room and we'll just do it on video because you got the right to be there for your trial. I'm like, dang. Hey, Sylvia, good to see you. All right, let's get on. Yeah, he had his conviction for sexual assault overturned. Let's get into it because you guys know we'll start having our dialogue. So I'm gonna start with Bryana Bongolan. Okay. So the government calls Bryana Bongolan. What else are you called? She said, Bana. What do you work in? Fashion design. What did Mr. Combs do to you? They got right into it, okay? Held me over a 17th story balcony. Like, you gotta be, something gotta be not all the way. The elevator ain't going all the way up. Any after effects? Night terrors. I wake up in my sleep. So then they showed a photo. And she says, it's Cassandra Ventura Cassie, my friend. I met her in 2013 at Young and Reckless, the streetwear company, then at Diamond Designs. And how would you describe Cassie's relationship with Mr. Combs? Volatile. I did not want to meet him right away. I had seen a black eye. She begged me to meet him. Did you do design work for Mr. Combs? A little. And where did Mr. Combs live? I think like in Beverly Hills. So then Nicole Westmoreland is gonna do the cross apparently because she said objection, speculation. I mean, she said I think so. Yeah, that's speculation. The judge said, ask another question. Do you know the name of the street? Mapleton. And what did you do with Cassie? Drugs. And we'd go shopping. We'd hang out with Deontay and others. I don't know if somebody asked me what I did with somebody. The first thing I'll say is drugs. See, this is why I said some of this stuff sounds like it's part of the prepping. And that's not to say what she's saying is not the truth. But like, why would that be the first thing? It's like, oh, we hung out, we went out to the club, we went shopping, I did. But the first thing that you think about is drugs. That's what we did. Okay. We'll get right into it. Is this a photo of you and Cassie shopping? Yes. In April 2016, Puff texted Cassie, asked where she was, and sent a list where we'd been. So she sounded like she probably sent a list to him on where she was at and what they was doing and where they been. Had you or Cassie told Mr. Combs where you were? No. How did it make you feel? Objection, overruled. Like, oh my God, he knows where we've been. And where would you sleep at Cassie's? The couch or the balcony? Did Mr. Combs come over? Yes. He banged on the door and he came in. Do you know how? I don't know. He was upset. He threw a knife in her direction and she threw it back. He left swiftly. Yeah, Cassie said he threw a knife at her and she was like, oh, okay, we doing knife throwing now? M. Max said, East River's hanging over balconies throwing knives. This is like a bad episode of The Sopranos. High Vibe said, why not say we were friends? The resident therapist said, love what Pam said, use AI on top of what you know, otherwise you won't catch the errors. There are errors and we are in the beta age. We are the programmers. They use the available info from us. They do. Wonder Woman said it's about time. We got to give Cassie her props when they show us that she wasn't just taking it. You know what I'm saying? So it sounds like, according to this, they said he threw a knife in her direction and she threw it back and he left. See how he left? He said, oh, she on one today. The government said, were you doing drugs? She said, I don't remember. I don't know. Did you call the police? No. Why not? I was scared. Did you see injuries on Cassie? She showed me on FaceTime before makeup for the perfect match. And what did she say? She was quiet. We were at a party at the Blind Dragon, a karaoke bar in West Hollywood. Then we went to Cassie's house to help her pack. Deontay was there. Puff came. Are you under subpoena? Usually they ask that first. I guess they forgot. Yes, I won't get in trouble if I tell the truth. You see how they all saying that, right? Did we tell you to tell the truth? And as long as you tell the truth, you won't get in trouble. Did Mr. Combs provide you drugs? Yes. One was called G. I am not an avid user. Ketamine, marijuana, cocaine. So when they say that Mr. Combs provide you drugs, if you guys recall in the actual indictment, one of the underlying, one of the predicate acts for the RICO is saying that he distributed drugs to people. So I think that's kind of where they're trying to go with this. How often did you get drugs for Cassie? So she was getting drugs as well, apparently, which I think she may have pled the fifth. She may have got immunity too. I think I heard somebody say that, but I haven't looked to see for myself. So I'll have to double check. But I heard that maybe she did, this would probably be why, because she said she was supplying drugs as well. So she said, how often did you get drugs for Cassie? Often, those oxy pills. Did she pay you? Yes. So you was the drug dealer. Okay. So that's why she probably was like, she's going to need some immunity. All right. Did you try with Cassie to stop drugs? She said, yes, we tried to cook, but there were a lot of drugs around us. So basically, they wanted to stop, but they just couldn't because the drugs were just there. They were everywhere. Has Mr. Combs ever threatened you? Yes. Let me show you a photo from April 2016. Who is in it? This photographer who goes by the name Badboy with an I. We thought it was cool. That was his name. We thought we'd made some art. Puff came up close to my face and said, I am the devil and I could unalive you. And she seems like she was sobbing when she said it. And he acted just like he said who he was. That's exactly how it seemed like he was acting, real devilish when he was doing some of the stuff he's accused of. That's what it's sounding like to me, J Live, which would not be what is the predicate act. Because the predicate act, if you're the person supplying the drugs, unless you are, they're saying you're in the enterprise and you were the person that kept everybody high and knew why they were high, is distribution of the drugs is what Diddy has in his indictment. So that's why they keep trying to get people to say, he gave it to me too. Or he sent me out and he gave me the money, but I gave it to somebody else. So it looks like not your average normal people that are just drug addicts. It starts looking like, I guess they're trying to make this as part of just the criminal enterprise. This is what they do. But yeah. Were you taking drugs that day? She said, probably cocaine. Did you continue to see Mr. Combs after that? Yes. Why? I don't know. Because it doesn't even sound like she works for Badboy or anything. She just came in as a stylist or makeup artist, rather. Did you tell the government about this threat in your first meeting? No. So here goes another one. It looks like that they're trying to get ahead of it. You guys should be used to it now. That the more they meet with the government, stories get added or more comes to these stories. That's what seems to be happening. So it looks like the government is trying to get ahead of it. Did you tell the government about this threat in your first meeting? No. Why? Objection, it was sustained, and then they took a break. So this is starting to be a pattern where it seems like people meet with the government multiple times and then they add to their stories. And they know that the defense is going to eat it up. As happens, it happens also like just in general with witnesses. We have people that got 7 statements. We're going to go over all 7 of them. Okay. So you in statement 1, which is closer to the time of the event, you said A, B, C, D, and E. Okay. And you saying that was a lie. All right. Let's go to statement 2. So now you said da 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 da. Okay. And that was a lie. All right. Let's go to number 3. Like you literally go through all of them and you're like, so, but you want the jury to believe you're not here lying now, even though you got immunity. Like, cut it out. You know, that's the type of questioning they end up doing when it comes to the defense. And so the government is trying to get ahead of it when it comes to them, let people know, hey, you're going to hear about her with her stories and different renditions of the statement she gave. And so when the defense come, hopefully y'all don't really care about it because we already told you that it was going to happen. Yes, all of them are friends with Cassie. Every last one of them seems like they are. So let's go. So they took a break and they asked anything before we bring the jury in. The government said no disputes, but we now think Jane will not get on the stand today, given how this is going. We would like to get Enrique Santos on today. Some exhibits for Jane and tech issues. Okay, so looks like Jane ain't testifying today. Jury comes out, then is told to return to the jury room. The judge said, jurors, we have some tech issues, have to go under the tables. I'm going to ask you to retire to the jury room just for your comfort, and we'll bring you back in a few minutes. So then the jury comes back in after they doing their little technical, gig. And the government says, what happened on the balcony? That's what we want to know. She says, I was there. Now, who was there? I think that's what they're trying to say. She says, Cassie and my ex-girlfriend at the time. Said, and what were you doing? Sleeping on the couch with my ex. Doing drugs? I don't recall, in my woody voice. I don't recall. Hold on one second. J. Lai said, I'm wondering if Jane is feeling scared since Mia's real identity. You know what? I think that with Jane, what they are doing is they're not going to put her on the video in the overflow room. There was a memo. I got to pull it. But I don't think they're going to put her on the overflow room, and they're doing maybe more safeguards because of what happened with Mia. So, yeah. So I think they are going to be a bit more strict. And what did you do when Mr. Combs arrived? She says, I took my ex-girlfriend to the bathroom. I went, shh. Why? I didn't want to expose her to what I saw. Then went out on the balcony and either lit the blunt or was about to. Mr. Combs came up behind me on the balcony. He lifted me up and put me on the railings. Can you show us how he held you? To myself? Like, she like, you want me, what you want, huh? What you, huh? He picked me up and he put, she said, show us, how much did you weigh? She said, I can't say because of the drugs, but about 115 pounds. So I guess she was so high off drugs, she don't remember, but it was maybe around 115 pounds. She was a little witty, little bitty thing. What did Mr. Combs scream at you? He yelled, you know what the F you did? I said back, I don't know what the F I did. The government said, how long did he hold you there? She said, how long it takes to say that multiple times. You know what the F you did. So he holding her, you know what the F you did. She's like, I don't know what I did. He's like, you know what the F you did. She's like, I don't know what I did. know what that is crazy and insane. Over a balcony, all of this is happening. You said Puff ain't that 115 pounds. Come on. Even Puff could do that. Girls, what's the tea said with Jane? The only people that will see her video is the jury, according to CCs that are out there. Yeah, that's what I said. I think they're not letting the overflow people see her that I know of. What up, though? Said I'm hollering. You know that's how it went. I'm trying to put you guys, give you a vision on what may have, how it may have happened. Blaze said Puff with drugs may be stronger. Drugs and alleged mental health problems. Now, I worked, before I became a lawyer, for 12 years. I worked with people with mental health issues, and they are some of the strongest people I have ever met in my life, okay? You have to, in order to like have some control and authority, you have to basically have it where they almost respect you like a parent. And I know it's the truth because when I left and became a lawyer, they were still calling me. The people that were taking up, that took over my group, they was like, we gonna call Pam. There's in the background like, no, don't call Pam. Like your kids do. Because that's a whole nother level of strength. If they go in, if it's like a psychotic break or issue, okay. And some of you guys may know what I'm talking about. You said, does that mean Jane Doe is famous? No, I don't think it necessarily. Mia wasn't famous. She worked for him. So Jane Doe is in the indictment. Jane Doe is ex trafficking and prostitution with Jane Doe. Jane Doe is actually a recent person. They're saying it happened. So even after, this is how you know something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? We were to take it for what the government is saying with Diddy. Because after all of this, where people were filing lawsuits and stuff against you, he still allegedly was messing with Jane Doe all up and through until he got arrested in 2024. So even though these people was hitting you with lawsuits left and right after Cassie, you in your infinite wisdom could not stop doing the stuff that you knew they were accusing you of doing when they were investigating you. Because he knew he was under investigation, obviously, because the house got raided. So this Jane Doe is like supposed to be a recent person, according to the indictment. Okay. Let's go on. You know what Wayne said, Puff got a bad shoulder, free Puff. You go out, they paying people for those shirts, Wayne. You might go out there and make you a couple of dollars. Which is, or the one lady that just got put out of the courtroom because she was like, y'all always want to tear down a black man, or whatever she said. People are taking glee in a black man coming down. And it, you know, some people probably are their bias and they want to be there firsthand to see if a guilty verdict come down. But then if you don't get one, you're going to be looking crazy. So some people aren't there, I would say, for those motives. But also it's like people are always saying you want to bring down a black man, but it's like, so they ain't supposed to be accountable because we in the same race? Like, what are you really saying? We not supposed to hold them accountable if they did A, B, C, D, and E because of their skin color. That sounds ridiculous. But nonetheless, she's done a couple of interviews, if you know who I'm talking about. Was it? Bella, are y'all just lying on this lady? Huh? Because I don't know y'all. Diamond said, well, when he was arrested, he had a lot of illegal pharmaceuticals on him, which shows he didn't give a damn. Okay, Diamond Pearl Jam. He had some Astroglide and all that stuff too, didn't he? Then he had a picture of Visine, and everybody was putting me up on what you use the Visine for, because I was like, oh, what you got Visine for? His eyes was a little red. It's like, Pam, are you serious? And then the candy, they put so-and-so in candy. I was like, what? I just thought he liked Jolly Ranchers. So when they saw the pictures, everybody was telling me in the chat what it was for, because I definitely didn't know. Hey, Just Nikki, good to see you. I want to see how they prosecute. Me too. You see how fast that's out the media, right? Now, again, wrong is wrong on all sides. If you've done whatever they saying that you did, then you're gonna get what you get if the government can prove it. But that Jeffries case with the Abercrombie and Finch, ain't nobody talking about that. Since the day he walked up in that bill, first of all, he was in Florida. Let's start with that. He was in Florida. They allowed his attorney to have him turn himself in Florida, do his arraignment, get out on bond, and then fly to New York where the charges actually were. And everything was all good. And nobody said much about him since. And unfortunately, that now from that part, I will say there's a discrepancy. It appears to be a discrepancy based on race. But I don't know. Tell me why they by scene ban. I don't know what you're saying. Oh, the Visine? Maybe that's what you're saying. So allegedly you use it to mix it with some stuff, some drugs of some sort before you partake. That's what I was told in the chat. All right, let's go on. What next? So this is the balcony scene. She don't know how long she was out there. They was just like, you know what you did? No, I don't know what I did. What the F I do? You know what the F you did? I don't know what the F I did. What did you? So they went back and forth. What next? He threw me on the balcony furniture. Then when he got finished holding her over the balcony, I'm assuming leaning on a railing or something, took her and just threw her on the furniture. Were you injured? I didn't know at first. What did Cassie say? Along the lines of, did you just hang her over the balcony? Then I heard, her girlfriend is in the house. He left and I left. I wanted to take a shower. I felt disgusted. I saw a huge bruise on my leg with like a piercing in the middle and back and neck pain. Because she got a lawsuit, so she do got, some pain and suffering there. Is this the photo a fair and accurate representation of your leg? She said yes. So they must show a photo of her leg being bruised. I called one of the managers and they said, if you're scared of anything else, just go to a chiropractor. I called one of my managers and they said, if you're scared of anything else, just go to the chiropractor. What? Did you tell the chiropractor who done it to you? No, they asked, but I just paid and took the neck brace. Is the neck brace in a photo of you? Yes. Did you ever talk with Mr. Combs about this? I said, I don't want any problems with you. He didn't say anything. When did you last see them? January 2nd, 2018. And how do you remember? I tattooed the date on myself. Why? It's the day I decided to get sober. It was a New Year's thing in Miami at the one hotel. Puff, Cassie, and I did 8 hours of ketamine together. What? Diamond said we'll be back and forth in the clouds while running errands. Enjoy it. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate the love. So he trafficked this woman allegedly. Did Cassie know I'm a little late? No, Danielle, I don't think so. I think this is more of the forced coercion, drugs, that part of the indictment. I've pulled the documents for Abercrombie and Fitch. I actually went about. It's a video on it when he got indicted. I do have to go back and check and see what's going on because it's just not a case like Diddy's all over the place. But it's just not a case people talking about. And so out of sight, out of mind. So I do have to go back and just recheck on the Abercrombie and Fitch. He also had a class action against him too. And it was a lot of plaintiffs that did a class action as opposed to how Diddy just got hit with about 50 lawsuits. This one was a slew of people trying to create a class for how he took them allegedly on planes to other countries. And people thought they were coming to work for Abercrombie and Finch, and they were forced to basically to have these actual situations allegedly. But yeah, it was wild. That Abercrombie and Finch is no joke either. So yeah, and I think they kind of tried to use that, because I was saying in the video, like, okay, so why isn't Diddy getting bond? And I think their biggest thing was because, remember, if you listen to a few of the witnesses, almost as soon as Diddy knew that he was going to be in some trouble, he started contacting people. So of course the feds are looking at it like that's obstruction of justice or whatnot. So you're trying to contact people and tell them you had Mia, I think, say they contacted her, and D-Rock contacted her. She hadn't heard from D-Rock in years, and he called, and she was just happy he called. But apparently there was just this big old, bad boy meeting. Like, listen, we gotta, anybody that could say anything that might have been around to see anything, we need to call them. And so that was part of the problem with his bond. They felt like if he got out, he was going to contact people, and that basically he was a threat to society is what they were arguing. And when they used Abercrombie and Finch situation, they were saying there was no proof that that's what he was doing, which kind of wasn't true, because there actually was proof that they hired a PI that was following a couple of people allegedly. But nonetheless, they felt like Diddy was a threat. And they played that video over and over again of Cassie getting stomped. So that was, obviously Abercrombie and Finch didn't have that. Jeffries didn't have that issue. So yeah. You said it's over. Well, if it's over already, then that was quick. The older man was diagnosed with dementia, and I believe it was, it was about 3 different people. Only one of them they denied bail originally, and I don't know if they revisited it, and it was because he was actually a dual citizen. He was a citizen in a whole nother country. So, if he went back to his country, it was going to be a wrap. And I think that might have been his boyfriend. And they were going to allow them to stay together. I mean, it was all type of accommodations. I have to go back and look at it. But people didn't seem that interested in Abercrombie. So if something, usually people will be like, hey, Pam, what happened to this and that? Nobody has mentioned it. So that was kind of how it slipped my mind as well. So yeah, so let's get back here. Okay, let's get back to the get back. So basically, she's saying she knew the date the last time she saw Diddy, because she had the date tattooed, because she said the day she decided to get sober, because on New Year's, Puff, Cassie, and her did 8 hours of ketamine together. Are you aware Cassie included the balcony incident in her complaint? She said, yes, I told her she had facts wrong. It wasn't in a hotel, and Tiffany. So for those of you that don't know, I want to know this part, because Tiffany Red is like, she's come out and talked about it, because I thought she said she was there or something. I don't know. I don't remember. So I don't want to put that on Tiffany. But she's another person, like, she has a organization to help writers get their money. And she was friends with Cassie. And she basically was saying that Cassie, she said that Cassie, she was in the studio with her, and they wrote hundreds of songs, and Puff never released any of them. So she was, obviously upset about that as a songwriter trying to make money. So apparently in Cassie, she mentioned it in the complaint, and that's what I think made Tiffany talk about it. And she said, I know who it is. That was her friend and all of that. So what she's saying now is, she told Cassie, your complaint wrong. Them facts is wrong. It wasn't in a hotel. Wasn't no hotel balcony. And I don't know what the Aunt Tiffany part is. I don't know what she means. So have you talked with Cassie about your testimony or hers? She said, no, I have nightmares. I scream. When's the last time you had nightmares? She said, the other day. I'm sure she did because she knew she had to testify. Have you hired a lawyer about the balcony incident? Yes, my first lawyer hired in January 2024. Did you mention everything in your first meeting with us? No. Did your first lawyer send a demand letter to Mr. Combs? Multiple. And the demand was high. He picked it. So they're about to talk about how much money she was asking for or something for this incident. Because as you guys see, Cassie filed her lawsuit November 2023. So she got her a lawyer in January of 2024, I guess, to try to get her money out of it too. Because Cassie, we know she settled in less than 24 hours. So I think a lot of people were thinking, oh, he giving out money for being the asshole he's been all these years. Let me get on it too. So that's how the defense is jumping on it, like this is all a money grab. So that is kind of their position, and the government knows it. So they're trying to get ahead of it again and say, let the juries know, the jurors know that even though it's been years later, he did this balcony incident. And of course, she chose to still hang with him after that, it sounds like, because they did 8 hours of ketamine the day that she has the date of the last time she saw him. So now, before filing the lawsuit, apparently her attorney sent multiple, not one, but multiple demands to try to get money before they filed. And apparently Diddy's people must have said no because she ended up filing. So now she's saying she doesn't know what the amount is, which leads me to believe it was a nice amount. Because she wants to say, she said she did not tell her attorney what amount that it should be, or she didn't even see the demand letter. That was something her attorney did. She's trying to separate herself from whatever the amount is. Because if you guys look at it, remember, if for those of you that follow me, even with the Bishop T.D. Jakes case, part of why T.D. Jakes is alleging there was some conspiracy is because there was one demand letter asking for money before they were going to file. But T.D. Jakes, which is common, but usually it's just one. I'm multiple. I'm not doing all that. If I'm a suer, I'm not. But I'll give you a chance before we both got to go through protracted litigation. So a lot of people are trying to, they'll use that as if it's a conspiracy and you're just trying to get money out of them. Even though in theory, demand letters are something that every civil attorney does at some point. It's a lot of my cases never get filed because we're able to resolve it before anything happens because they know that they were wrong. And so it's no point even going through all of that just for the inevitable where they got to pay my client and pay their attorneys. So it's a cost benefit analysis. This lawyer sounds like they sent multiple demand letters before they filed. So and the demand was high. He picked it. Did you approve the letter? No, they were incorrect. I let him go. Who? Tyrone Blackburn. And Tyrone Blackburn is the one who was on the T.D. Jakes case. And I hadn't even read that, I promise y'all. He's the one on the T.D. Jakes case who sent the letter, and it was high. And because it was so high, there was basically an allegation of people conspired with him because the guy that he sued was on a platform talking about it and all of that. So they was making this whole conspiracy based on that. But yeah, so that's exactly the same person. Yeah, our boy Tyrone. Crazy. You said Les Wexner is a powerful person. Okay. Well, let's get on to that. Did people reach out to you? They said Tiffany, Cassie, the producer, Rob Holiday. Was he friends with Mr. Combs? Yes. So Westmoreland said, may we have a sidebar? Judge said, we may. So then they're back. Who did Mr. Holiday say he was calling for? She said, Puff. What offer was he authorized to offer? Objection sustained. How did you feel during the call? I declined the offer. And it was not responsive. And the judge said, move on unless you're prepared to ask some of the foundational questions we discussed at sidebar. The government said, did you talk with him again? No. So it's been a minute because we was yapping. So let's see. And Inner City Press did say, remember the other day we were having issues with it being broken threads and stuff. He said a lot of people were complaining about it. And he was trying to figure out, I think yesterday he had to separate it into two threads. And he said today he actually had a hard time trying to stay on the same thread. It took him a while. So he's like, Twitter needs to fix it, basically. But so yeah, it wasn't just us when we was getting a little brokenness that was happening. Let's see. Whoa. This is after another sidebar. The objections are sustained. Move on. Your lawsuit, did you write it? No. How much is being requested? $10 million. Cassie got 20. She wants $10 million. And Cassie was with this fool for 11 years. Nothing further. Cross. Westmoreland like, yeah, if you let me, yes, if I do say so myself. She says, I need to ask you some questions. You have immunity as long as what you say today is true, right? Yes. Who decides if you're lying? She said, the prosecutors? That's a good question, Nicole. Miss Bongolan, you were a graphic designer? Yes. You and Cassie would work on designs, including at true, I guess her house. Including at her house, true? Yes. All right, you were focused on a t-shirt design. There were a lot of things. She asked you to come over? Yes. You suggested Cassie do a photo shoot in the pool in just a t-shirt. That wasn't the first idea, but yeah. You begin to feel comfortable with her. Sounds around it. You spent the night. Yes. You went to parties with Cassie. Not going to parties. We partied. Okay. You did a lot of drugs with Cassie. Yes. How did marijuana make you feel? Sometimes hungry. How does ecstasy make you feel? Uplighted. Probably uplifted, I'm assuming. Uplifted. How about G? Like the negative parts of alcohol. Perk. I threw up. Cocoa Puff. Blunt with weed and cocaine. I have never heard of that. Y'all heard of Cocoa Puff? Weed with cocaine is called Cocoa Puffs. Hey, Val. I'm about to text you. I already texted your husband. We beefing right now. 10 million is still crazy. Oh my goodness. Said crackhead baby. Cocoa Puffs. Let me go throw this cereal away. I just saw the boy. I've heard the mixture, but not the name. I've heard of the mixture. What did we call it? It was something where you had the weed with the crack, and we were little. Crack cocaine. I can't remember what it was called. Power Dynamics said they used to be called Fry Daddy and Primos in the 80s. Primo, yeah. Wow. Yeah, 51s. That's it, James Payday Owens. I was like, it's some number. I don't remember what it is. And I was thinking 5150, like when they give you when you have mental health crisis. And I was like, no, maybe I'm just connecting that to the mental health crisis. But yeah, 51 or B51. Yeah. Sunshine said it was just called lace with powder. Man, wild. Y'all didn't know when you was looking at Diddy doing the Harlem Shake, it was because he was really feeling like he wasn't even here. This is probably shocking so many people on this is the epitome of stop wishing you had other people's lives. Because you had Gina fighting to be Cassie, who was going through all of this with the black eyes and all that. And Gina was getting stomped, and you ain't even have all the perks of Cassie. So you fighting to be Cassie. Then you had Cassie consistently fighting to be Kim and getting Kim's. So all these women just fighting to be in the next line of the hierarchy of his women that are considered that he's in a relationship with. Man, yep. Most of them are wearing shades. Shocking. Don't be blaming Detroit for that, James Payday Owens. Don't act like we made up that stuff. All right, let's get back to this. So she said a blunt with weed and cocaine is what Cocoa Puff is. You would agree with me that you and Cassie had a serious drug problem. Yes. You sold drugs to Cassie a lot. Yes. You got her hundreds of pills. Yes, they were hers. Name the drug dealer. I don't know if I can. Let's refresh. In this job, your clothing line did not work out due to the skater mentality of Diamond Supply Company. I believe they saw the vision, but whatever. So she must have told her, let's be clear, you ain't make it in whatever industry you trying to do. You believe you are one of Cassie's best friends. Yes, but you didn't meet Mr. Combs for a year. You met in 2016, first time at a dinner at this house. Yes. He was standoffish with you. Yes. Did you talk with Deontay Nash after his testimony? Yes, but not about his testimony, right? You want us to believe that you talked to him after his testimony, didn't talk about his testimony? We know what's going on. You don't need to talk because you know. Objection sustained. Nicole says she go ahead. You hired Tyrone Blackburn to sue Mr. Combs. It was to seek justice. Your definition of justice is to sue Mr. Combs. Can you rephrase that? Suing for money. Oh, yes. November 2023, you are aware Cassie filed a lawsuit. You were working together then. Yes. May we have a sidebar? Sidebar. We need a break. Judge said, you may. Then they come back. Cassie, this is Westmoreland. Cassie included the balcony incident in her lawsuit. True. Cassie said this happened at a hotel. True. She didn't say it like that. You said your apartment, it has a balcony. I didn't say it like that. Cassie told you she never saw you over a balcony. No, ma'am. I don't remember. Westmoreland laughs. She's like, okay, all right. Right here, read the page, then look up. You had these conversations. I don't know. About this alleged balcony incident, you and Miss Ventura talked about the date, the place, who was there. True. In 2015 and 2016, you didn't see any signs of violence. True. I don't know the exact year. The birthday party. What drugs were you doing? I don't remember. Alleged knife throwing incident. He just walked in and threw a knife. I'm not sure. Are you telling the truth? Objection. Sustain. Didn't you tell the government they would get in knife fights? Plural. I don't remember. Let me show you. Since she got to show her what she said. I was suggesting where the knife came from because it makes no sense. Nicole said, you're saying you don't know how to get in to throw the knife, but once he's left, you're no longer worried. I don't remember how I felt. You say at a photo shoot, Mr. Combs said I could unalive you? Yes. But at first you told the government it was at a party. I don't know. I don't know. Your first demand letter said Mr. Combs said I could kill you while he hung you over the balcony. He did both, just not at the same time. So I guess in the demand letter, he said he unalive him while hanging her over the balcony. But now she testified. He said, you know what you did. What I do? You know what the F you did? I don't know what the F I did. Now I guess they saying that he said he was going to unalive her. Sidebar. Yes. They trying to distract Nicole. She probably in there cooking because they keep trying to interrupt her flow. You met the government January 18, 2024. Didn't mention the I killed you, but put it in your subsequent demand letter. Yes, in the demand letter, I don't know when. Read this. The whole thing. This paragraph. And the judge said, as much as you want. Thanks. Okay. You didn't tell the government about I could kill you, and Tyrone was there. Yes, I let him go. Basically, like, yeah, he was there that time, but I let Tyrone go. Okay, Tyrone, listen, Tyrone showing up everywhere. I wasn't impressed, and so I let him go. Yeah, he was there when I talked to the government, but I fired him. Okay. Hey, Letterman says she's a horrible. The witnesses always seem real good till the cross come up. Didn't I tell you? I was like, the government is like, because they controlling the narrative. But then when you get the cross and they poke, they just in there like, through your whole story. It was in the hotel. It was at her house. It was in the party. It was at a photo shoot. You didn't tell them the first time. Cassie's lawsuit say something different than your lawsuit. Then you got a demand letter adding I'ma unalive you up in the demand letter. That's what the defense does. All right. She's reading right now. You didn't tell the government about I could kill you and Tyrone was there. Yes, but I let him go. Drugs were expensive, right? They are expensive. Now, I don't know. Did you run out of money for drugs? I don't remember that. You and Cassie had a drug partnership. Yes. Cassie would pay for the drugs and you go buy them. Yes. Did you meet the government on May 25th, 2025 and June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th? Yeah, that's not long ago. That's today. She said, I'm not good at dates. She said, yeah, that's not long ago. She said, that's today. I'm not good at dates. Jesus help us all. I like that they don't match because to me, it means the drugs messed up. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like with all of them though. But is that good that they don't remember? Like, should a jury say these people that are coming up with these stories and they're not doing it until after Cassie got her money, should we believe that these people's story is legit and they can't even keep the story straight? And you're talking about people that just filed lawsuits, did demands, and talked to the government. Why they're talking to the government this many days in a row, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So today is the 4th. That's Wednesday. Yesterday is Tuesday. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, she met with the government. Abby says some people are more scared because they aren't familiar with the defense attorney and they are like the adversary. Well, when you prep them, just like one of the witnesses say, when you prep the witnesses, you prep them for cross too. You don't just prep them for yours. You prep them for cross, where you get somebody who probably is the beast at cross to be as hard on you so you know how to respond. That's typically how you prep them. But I don't know what's happening here. It sounds like they kind of just was making sure their stories and stuff were straight because none of these people seem prepared for the defense. They're not prepared for cross. Well, see through you said when you prep a lie, it falls apart. Lesson said, to be honest, I can't remember what happened last week and I'm not on drugs. But you would also agree, going by what you say, Lessons 22, if somebody threatened to unalive you, you probably would roundabout remember where it's at. What happens, even when you deal with like the experts, they said the date, you may not necessarily remember, you'll remember some specifics like cologne or I was at a house with a white porch. She says she's having nightmares about a lot of this stuff. So if you're having nightmares, you would have the recollections of a lot of stuff. She remembers the day that she was sober, that she decided to get sober because she tattooed the date on her. She remembered they did 8 hours of ketamine that day. So when there are certain events that are significant, you usually do remember. Now you talking about last week, what hour you went to the store or you stopped to get gas and all, like, yeah, I mean, generally speaking, your day-to-day activity, you're not, but significant events, you usually are going to be able to recall them. Maybe not do every little detail. No juror is going to expect that. But there are certain things that shouldn't slip you, like, apartment, hotel, like certain things that you should remember. That's not nice. She says she clean. That's why she remembered the date in 2018 because she's clean. Who got who hooked on drugs? Good question, Gladys Pickett. The person that probably would have known if there were really drugs, that Cassie did drugs like that prior to Diddy, if we're talking about Cassie, would be her roommate that's not her friend anymore. And I don't think that really came out. They did drink and stuff, and I don't know if she would want to admit that anyway. But when it comes to this young lady, I don't know. The fact she was able to get the drug, she knew somebody. And she ain't seemed like she was new to this. But who knows? Especially when you ask them for 10 million, you better have all your ducks in a row. Because what it looks like is a money grab, like I said. And you got to be realistic with your demands. I don't know if this is the new generational thing. Now, if you file a lawsuit, yeah, throw that 100 million in there. Like make them shake a little bit. But when you're talking about demands, is supposed to be you're literally trying to settle. That's your point. Why would I settle with you for $10 million? Bring it. Like, what's my point? I'm not like, bring it. Ain't no jury giving you $10 million. So we might as well just go ahead and bring it. We just could fight it out in the mat. Like, that's kind of how you have it go. The point of doing a demand is you're trying to avoid litigation. So you have to be reasonable. In the Cassie case, we know allegedly she asked for $30 million for the rights to her book she was going to write. Diddy was like, this a whole Harlem shakedown. And so he said no, which was the biggest mistake of his life. He probably is kicking himself because I know he can spend way more than that just trying to defend himself. And you may end up doing time because her lawsuit prompted where the government could not let this go. Then all the lawsuits after that, as you see, this lady, she filed a lawsuit. So Don Richard filed a lawsuit. They're getting people that file lawsuits against them. So, but she settled for $20 million. So she took less than what she was saying it was. And that's what negotiation is. For you to say you want $10 million was just a bit much for a bruise. Now, I'm not saying she shouldn't get a couple of dollars for the psychological, because I can't imagine nobody hanging over, pushing you over a banister and you don't know if they're going to let you go. But as far as you saying you had a neck brace like whiplash or something and you had a bruise on your leg, $10 million is just a lot. But Raynette said no bail on the Rico, rare if ever. I'm surprised no one passed away with all the drugs. That's what Diddy said too in the letter. He was like, man, the way we was out here wilding, I just thank God we still alive. That's what he told Cassie when he found out she was pregnant. Isn't ketamine a animal tranquilizer? I don't know. Is it? Let me know. Liddell said Diddy should have had bail months ago. I think if he had the right team, he probably would have gotten bail, honestly. And Max said the hotel security supervisor lowballed himself so bad. Diddy voluntarily gave him $100K for the video. He probably could have gotten millions for it. Yeah, and I'm kind of, I know I didn't really talk about that, but I'm kind of like on the fence when it comes to that, because people do catch and kill all the time. And what is catch and kill is basically people that end up getting pictures of you and you cheating, and they catch you kissing somebody, and then you're a celebrity and they don't want it to get in the tabloids. They say, well, how much money you want for the picture? And it go away. And that's what it sounded more like to me. It's more like that. If you get rid of it, then this and that. But they're trying to, again, turn what celebrities do. And I know you guys have heard of that. So to turn what celebrities do on a daily basis into part of this criminal enterprise. When honestly, when it comes to things like that, the reasoning why he had people come to clean up, as much as they could. Apparently they couldn't do nothing with the baby oil, but they were coming in trying to clean up because they didn't want it to be like, for instance, when what's that, the one that was trying to run for governor over in Florida, and he lost, but he got caught up in the hotel room, and it was some men in there, and he's married and all of that good stuff. And so it became a big thing, and all of his pictures of the hotel room being trashed, and syringes and drugs and all of that stuff that they found in there went viral. So that's the stuff they try to avoid when they have people coming in to clean up and doing all that other stuff. So that's a good question, Danielle. Where do you draw the line between bribery and catch and kill? Does it depend on who solicits? That's a good question. The reason why I say that is because typically they reach out to you and they say they have it, and technically it's not illegal. But then you have, in this situation, it was a bit murky because from what I understand, Diddy implied that he would give money if you took care of it, but he didn't even come up with a number. So he said, listen, bro, I can't help you. I ain't got that type of authority. He went to his boss, who basically said, tell him we want 50. So he the one that gave the pricing. So is that really, because he assumed, right, that that's what Diddy was saying, like, I'll take care of you if you do whatever. He never said if it was money, never said any of that, but there was an assumption that he meant money. Then he went back to his boss, and his boss was like, 50K. 50K. Yeah, Gilliam. I don't know why. Andrew Gilliam. I had the Andrew part, but I just couldn't think of the last name. Just trying to figure out how they work taking the ketamine, because typically it's like an injection. Is it? Mm-mm. That's not true, David Gray, because it would be a whole lot of people that's in jail right now. Unless you say stuff, this is bribery, okay? Give me this $50,000 or I'm going to release this to the public. Like, if you say it like that, you better give me this money or I'm going to release it. Now, if you give somebody like, what, if that's the case, Cassie's was bribery, because she said, I'm going to give you first exclusive rights to my book. I'm going to give you that option. You ain't got to take the option if you don't want to, but I am giving you the heads up that I'm going to let this, and it's going to be about our life. And that's that. You got the option to buy it before I release it, or I let somebody else buy it, like a TMZ, or someone else can buy the pictures. I'm gonna let you. So that's typically how they do it. They'll basically say, listen, I'm paparazzi. I just want my money. So I'm gonna let the celebrity buy their own picture so I can make my money, or I'm gonna sell it to TMZ, who's gonna make their money. So that's pretty much how they do that. So I don't know how. I don't know. It's definitely a thin line. It's a fine line how they do it. I wouldn't want to be orchestrating nothing like that. Yeah, he's a native. That podcast, Native Land, with the young lady that was on. Wasn't she on MSNBC? And then Angela Rye. I've checked them out a few times. Ketamine either comes in pills form or cooked in a powder for usage. That's from Robert Mathis. I'll take your word for it. Tiffany Cross said. Ebby said the hotel employees in Sean Combs Enterprise, KK being involved in taking their ID pics, and security say they felt threatened does count for something wrong. No. All this issue's wrong, Abby. But is it wrong to prove what they're trying to prove? I'm not saying any of it is right. So they took the employee ID. Wasn't it like after? So they made them sign an NDA. So we know that they made them sign an NDA. And is it uncommon when you give somebody money to not to take their IDs and stuff? Kind of par for the course, especially if they're trying to somehow, I don't know if they're claiming it for some expense. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I don't have the answers, Abby. Sorry. It's strange that the Intercontinental settled with Cassie for $10 million and their employees made $100K out the video. That was a big L, right? They probably have insurance though. Jay Wright said it sounds like extortion. Maybe the line is drawn at the facts. That's what some people are saying. They thought it was extortion, like because they're the ones that came with the $50,000 and basically alluded. But like you said, KK reached out to them. They told her, "Oh, that video looked bad. It looked real bad." Which probably is what prompted to make them want to be like, all right, we got to get this video then if it looked like that. Because, heck, they said he was so blacked out and jacked up, he probably don't even remember half the stuff. So when KK called, knew an incident happened, obviously, because she had a black eye. And she's trying to get the video from the hotel. The hotel, they said, told him, like, this is bad. Told KK, this, yeah, I'm watching it right now. Your boy Diddy gonna be done. Like, this is really bad. He ain't gonna be able to come back from this like he done did everything else. Or whatever they said on the phone to make him be like, you know what, I'm gonna need to buy that video. We don't know all of the conversation. But y'all got some pretty good points. That's why I like y'all. Extortion, catch or kill, or bribery. I don't know. I think it's a fine line between all of them. I think we all agree that ain't none of it seeming right, though. But will it measure up to what needs to be proven? Because this will be a part of the racketeering. Okay. Let's see where we at. Westmoreland out here doing her thing. The fact that she told the government they get in knife fights, like, is that regular? Who gets in the knife? Like, what? All right. So she not good with the dates. So then Westmoreland said the balcony incident. Didn't you tell the government there was a party in the apartment? I don't remember that. You told the government your girlfriend was in the bathroom, not that you took her in there. My ex. Your complaint says you were smoking a cigarette on the balcony, not weed. I don't remember. Different things? Yes. You told the government you recalled he was charging at you. I don't remember. Didn't you first say Mr. Combs actually assaulted you on the balcony? Oh, I showed them where his hand were. You said he groped your breast, or your lawyer said it? Oh, my lawyer said it. Ooh, wait. They just gonna throw the actual assault in there, huh? Lord have mercy. Right now it said NDAs don't protect from abuse or criminal activity like most of these people assumed. Uh, yeah, no. There's, and honestly, with so what it has within, and I think Diddy tried to use it, which is commonplace in NDAs or releases that have NDAs. They tell you if you have that situation of which they don't want you to talk about it because it's a situation like this that can make one party look horrible, then it'll say you cannot discuss this or you got to pay all the money back. If you tell anybody what you know how much you got and all of that, you got to pay all the money back as one of the consequences, and we have to sue you. We can sue you and you got to pay our attorney fees. They'll have consequences to it. However, it'll tell you they'll give you, of course, exceptions. One of those exceptions is if you're subpoenaed or a court of law tells you got to come testify and talk about it. So, I mean, that's what they were using. Like, we weren't trying to gag you from talking about it because in the court of law, you can still go. But you have to like allow them to go because you don't have a choice. If they subpoena you or you have to do a deposition or anything, NDA don't matter. It does not matter at all. If they commit a crime, NDAs don't matter at all. But what an NDA can do is keep her from talking as much, out in the public so people would know about it. That kept her from that. However, as soon as she decided to sue, she's able to do it. And some people were saying that was why they didn't do anything because they were under NDAs. So I guess they didn't know how NDAs worked. You know what? Why are y'all doing Blackburn like this? This is not nice. Tyrone Blackburn he's representing Lil Rod. That was one where they were trying to get sanctions on him as well. And the judge was like, nah, we're not even about to do that. And it was an issue because they felt like they basically said you acting like you at the playground in these pleadings. Like, we are grown adults that practice law, and I'm going to need you to not disparage the other side and be acting all kitty in these pleadings. So he ended up surviving some of his claims, but some of his claims got dismissed. But he does have some claims surviving because it was just based on the pleading before you even tried to do any type of discovery or anything to debunk everything. That'll come later on, and they'll probably do a motion for summary judgment to dismiss it. Right now, most of the cases, Diddy and them are challenging the constitutionality of what they're doing these cases under the Gender Motivated Violence Act. And those questions are in the Court of Appeals right now of can you really sue somebody under that act when it happened years before. Like, you have to do retroactive. It's something they're arguing about it in the Court of Appeals. So the court on a few issues is waiting and staying these cases until they can get the Court of Appeals decision. But with Blackburn, he also was representing one of the alleged escorts, I think, because he came up on a motion to quash because the expert didn't want Diddy and them to get some documents, and they were alleging they were attorney-client privilege or work product or something. And so the judge was like, no, you need to turn that over to the defense. So I did see his name pop up on that too. Listen, he trying to get his money. No, he trying to get his money. Tyrone said, shoot, please don't judge me. Let's see if there's any more after that. All right. So the lawyer said it. She blaming the lawyer. So Westmoreland said, didn't you tell these prosecutors 2 days ago that you couldn't remember what happened out on the balcony? I don't remember. Do you remember what drugs you were on? No. Didn't you tell the government you took Molly, G, and cocaine? That's a lot of drugs. How's that your response? Like, that's a lot of drugs. Didn't you take them all? No, not all on that night. Somebody said in the chat talking about when is the prosecution gonna object? Why are they letting these witnesses get cooked? They must be over there waving the white flag. I told you, I said, why aren't they having Nicole do more cross? She is cooking these people. This is only her second time they let her up. Hey, Be That Light. Thank you so much for joining us. Judon said, since Cassie, who was the victim in the video, said she also wanted Diddy to retrieve the video and that she didn't want the police involved, is it bribery or just handling a private matter privately? Judon, that's a great question. If Cassie didn't want it to get out because she said she didn't want it to affect her career, then is it similar to her paying the money to what is his name, Jonathan Adi, because she was concerned that he had a video and he video recorded them and was going to put it out, and did he pay for it? It's a very good question. You guys are so enlightening. You guys think. Hey, Sam, good to see you, sis. I ain't seen you in a minute. You said this witness is completely Man, them jurors probably ready to go home. They like, put this man in rehab, throw him someplace where he can't be around women for a minute, get him some anger management, make him pay people money for all their distress, and let's all just go home. Oh my God, my sister is ridiculous. Y'all, please go hit that like button. We got the like and the subscribes police over here. Okay, let's see what we got going on. So then the judge said, Miss Westmoreland, how much more do you have? And she said, how much can I get? Like, listen, I'd like to finish today. And the judge said, I asked you how long. She said, quite a bit more. The judge said, jurors, you can go. So we're done for the day. Apparently, Westmoreland came in cooking like grease, and the judge was like, oh, you're not going to finish today? So we probably won't even hear Jane Doe until maybe the afternoon. She says she got a lot more. She is just getting started. Okay. And Lesson said, I don't know if he's going to do time, but he's going to do something. And listen, he beat that Rico in that trafficking. Anything else, he'd probably be like, whatever, sold. I wonder if she and Cassie decide to get the money from Cassie's parents. That would be interesting. If Diddy gets out, it could result in major lawsuits, given a reason to keep him locked up. Why would you say that, Lindell? Diddy's team is solid, can't lie, but they better for $3 million a month in fees. You know, people, it's actually a skill. I know everyone thinks they can do it. I know everybody Especially on YouTube, everybody's lawyers. Everybody's think you can just pull a document and just say what it means, and you can do what all lawyers do that went to school or put years in training. Cross-examination is definitely an art, and I don't think everyone on his team is as good as Nicole when it comes to cross. It's too many open-ended questions, too much room for people to elaborate. No, you elaborate with the government. That's who you're their witness. Don't elaborate with me. I'm gonna need a yes or a no. Okay. If the government wants to clean it up, that's on them. But you're not gonna sit up here and get on your soapbox and explain and define everything. Not on my cross. It's definitely a art. And so I think Nicole West, she's very clear, concise, and to the point. And I seen that on the YSL trial. Kelly said, I ain't seen the evidence of the RICO or trafficking. Thank you so much, Rena Love Bags. Thank you. I appreciate that. The attorneys from GR are showing, they showing out senses in common. And they showed out on YSL. That's why Diddy said, yeah, them young thug people, go get them. And he wanted a black woman. I don't know why he thought about that at the 11th hour, but nonetheless. Apparently, he and Agnifilo have to have some form of prior, maybe dealings or something, because Agnifilo, with that case, that Lanier case, Lanier had a trafficking case, and he doing like 100 and something years. Let me see how much he doing. And Agnifilo represented him. So when I seen him as Diddy's, I'm like, Diddy, you want him to be your attorney? And he just, somebody else just got 100 and something years for sex trafficking? Let me see. I'm like, that was the cult. When they saying it was a cult or something? Cult in New York. Is it Ryan Lanier? What's that man's name? Keith Lanier. So that Nexium, if you guys watch American Greed. So Keith Lanier, this was his exhibit. GX46. Okay, he's 64 years old. Keith Lanier is an American cult leader who was convicted of pattern of racketeering activity, including human trafficking, X offenses, and fraud. He co-founded Nexium, a purported self-help multi-level marketing company offering personal development seminars and headquartered in Albany, New York. Operating from 1998 to 2018, Nexium had 700 members at its height, including celebrities and the wealthy. With Nexium, Lanier was referred to as Vanguard. So it has his criminal penalty. Y'all ready for this? And this is who Agnifilo represented. He got convicted 120 years in prison, $1.75 million in fine, $15,000 assessment pursuant to the Justice for Victims of Trafficking Act. So you gotta add that you can get fined as well because under the act. $3.5 million in restitution to 21 victims pursuant to the Trafficking Victims Protection Act and Mandatory Victim Restitution Act. So you got all these fines that I don't even know if he had this type of money, but he ain't getting out. You got 120 years. You're not going nowhere. You might as well get comfy with your bunkie. Thank you so much, James Payday, for the Cash App. I appreciate that. Was YSL finishing when Diddy got locked up? We're still that YSL. When did Diddy get locked up? In September? Yeah, because YSL didn't wrap up till right before the holiday. That was like the reasoning why I guess they wanted to go home and just came back. First of all, when the judge and YSL, when Judge Whitaker said she was entertaining one of those motions for a mistrial because she was just sick of the government. That's when they started sitting down for pleas and all of that. So Stay said, I'm wondering, was the Ignifilo the only one willing to take Diddy's case at first? No, there were several people that wanted his case. Agnifilo's wife is a former federal prosecutor in New York. Really? Thank you so much for that. That's interesting. That case is totally different. What you saying with with Rainier? I'm saying it's trafficking, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you how many years you can get. So I said if he can get rid of the trafficking in the RICO, because racketeering conspiracy, he gonna be all right. He can probably do a few years. But those, they trying to take you down forever. That's what those are doing. Cult leaders and people with undue influence get convicted on one thing or another. But this is really essentially almost what they're trying, is coercion. You have to show, for sex trafficking, you have to show coercion. Part of Agnifilo's defense, even in that case, I remember, like I said, on American Greed as my source, he was doing a press conference and he was saying it was consent with whatever these 21 women are. Okay, it was consent. I do think Diddy's is different from that case. His seemed more slam dunk because he actually started some marketing, almost like a Ponzi scheme. Then you had the women coming in, they were branding themselves, and it was crazy. If you guys have not checked out that American Greed and you have On Demand or something, go check it out. It was interesting. So it was a lot going on with that one. I could totally see them telling him, you going down. So when I compare those type of cases, even to Diddy is different. I have not looked into R. Kelly like that. Like for his federal case, I haven't looked into it like that to have an opinion one way or another. But I know he had different circumstances where if you watch Surviving R. Kelly, women were saying they was locked in rooms and had a bucket to pee in and all of that. So that type of stuff is just different than what's going on with Diddy, whether you like him or not. Diddy sounds like a jealous abuser. Like a lot of stuff he's doing to her friends and all of that, showing the violence. It's attached to Cassie. Everything's attached to Cassie, which is interesting because he ain't did none of. Nobody came forward and said he was doing that because of Kim, even though that's who he was really seemed like he wanted to be with like that if she would have him. But there's not stories like that with Kim. But you hear all these stories, with everything's connected with Cassie, like the makeup artist, the stylist, the graphic designer. And I think they're trying to show that her graphic designer didn't go anywhere. And she just kind of linked up with Cassie and they became friends. And then they became drug partners and they was doing all these drugs. And yeah, there were allegedly children. Yes, Lively P. That is true. You said it was ridiculous. Yeah, that's true. I'm not saying he wasn't touching Kim. I don't know. What I'm saying is that in this case, there's no separate incidents outside of it being connected to Cassie, if it makes sense. So with the stylist, it was something with Cassie. He jumped on him back and all of that stuff, or choking him out has something to do with Cassie. The video being destroyed has something to do with, you don't want people out here to know about Cassie. This lady who is on the stand with the balcony incident, basically, what the F you did, but it sounds like he's saying this ain't even happened. I think it's where they're getting at, that this is all made up. But it was something like you heard him coming and you trying to hide from him coming and telling your girlfriend go hide in the bathroom. So everything somehow circles back to Cassie. So yeah. Nope. R. Kelly didn't have nobody locked up in basements. He didn't even have I didn't say a basement. I said rooms. How could this enterprise be based off coercion when his enterprise existed prior to Cassie? I'm assuming you're talking about Bad Boy or his companies. I don't think, honestly, I think we can all agree that Bad Boys is legit. Like, it's a legit business. Sean John is a legit business with legit people getting legit salaries. One lady, she worked for Revolt and she was on one of these platforms, and I think it might have been Long Crime. And she said she never seen any of this, and she worked for Revolt. So he had real, like a real company. And they said his energy was just infectious and all of that. So there are people with good experiences with him. It seems like when you want to be close to him or be in his circle, when you want to be close to him and be in his circle, that's when he was acting a plum fool. Like, you got to see the Diddy. If you just seen Diddy in your workspace, he was all right because he was about his business. But when you were such a, some people to me were groupies, all right? So if you were trying to be actually close to him, and I think people tried to get close to him through Cassie. That's what I think. Everybody became Cassie's best friend. How many people that came on there and said, she was my best friend? She was my best friend. We were really, 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 really close. Everybody seemed like they got close to Cassie. So they were able to get in the circle by getting close to Cassie. That's how most people got in, was through Cassie. Even you hired assistants and they got close with Capricorn. You hire her, but then she ended up close to Cassie, where Cassie texting you saying, I'm going out with Kid Cudi, or whatever the text message is. I'm making it up. So everything seems like it's your connection with Cassie. So how do we separate that and not say this joker wasn't just an abusive, controlling boyfriend, jealous boyfriend? That's like what the conundrum is, how the government is going to have to separate that, because everything surrounds them. Now, if you got people, and this lady Jane Doe, I'm assuming she probably a girlfriend too. She probably was a girlfriend too. Somebody told her you being used or whatever it is, because this was just last year he was supposedly with her, allegedly. And it's a difference if you got 20, 30 people you got coming in and you're ex-trafficking for financial gain, where you letting all your Bad Boys employees come in and have somebody in the room just waiting, and then you're the one, like how the escort company was, where you're collecting money for people to have X with your friends, your employees or employers, and you're doing it under the guise of you all work for Bad Boys. That's more like a criminal enterprise. So I think the government just still got to close the gap. That's all. Hey Pam, did you get a chance to check out that interview with the escort named Flash? Was that the one who was saying that? See, I'm getting all these escorts mixed up. Is that the one that was saying that Cassie was very kind to him or something like that? Because I did see one that was partially that. You said she was a girlfriend? I assume that. Plus, all of the companies were joint ventures or partnerships with other companies. Yes, that's another thing. You had joint ventures with Epic. You had joint ventures with Sound, like all these different joint ventures that he had with people. Sean John, there was a joint venture. He didn't just have this stuff, he had legit businesses. So I'm having a hard, see, that's why I said what makes RICO so murky when you do it outside of its intent. Because when you talk about gangs and, like I said, mafia and mob and all, it's more clear. You got the mob bosses. The point is, you trying to run the streets and you don't want anybody on your territory. And then to get your money, you're doing illegal gambling, or you're doing selling drugs within the y'all saying he's doing drugs. He's buying drugs from people, and he's paying for escorts to come in and to have intercourse with him and his girl. So I don't know. I just think it's tough. I'm not saying the government finds loopholes to expand it. And I think if they do, then Diddy will probably be appealing. TA company said it sounds like Diddy's drug use escalated. That's what people testified to. They did say that. Looks like Ray all day said it looks like Cassie welcomed all these people in as her friends to help keep her from getting beat on, but it failed. Maybe she did. May be right. Why she welcomed all these people. And I think he automatically just didn't like them because a lot of times with DV they try to keep you isolated. And so and she probably, her brother apparently was with her all the time. I seen him on a few interviews. And obviously the mother knew about the abuse since 2011 and she stayed with him 7 more years after that. So maybe Diddy he was okay with some of these people being around her because he thought if they were scared of him, they wouldn't allow Cassie to do anything. Like they wouldn't allow Cassie to go talk to a Michael B. Jordan. They wouldn't allow, because they were he had instilled fear in them that were going to be, that he seen were like taking a liking to Cassie, that they wouldn't allow her to do stuff around them. And then when that didn't happen, he would get mad because he didn't have the control. That's what I think why some of these people may have caught some of these strays. But everything leads back to Cassie. Yeah, like the watcher. Like you're like, oh, okay, it's cool because what did he say with Nash? The trainer? Like, you ain't even gonna tell me she was, with the trainer? Why was he mad at Capricorn? Take me to his house. Why you ain't tell me that she was messing with Kid Cudi? Why you ain't tell me that? So it's like putting fear where you wouldn't even want her. So if he got his people around her all the time and they got fear of what Diddy will do, they won't allow her to do basically what he's worried that she doing what he doing. Like basically she was trying to do what he was doing already. So it's like a lot of this stuff was relationship based in my mind. I just think he was just a jealous abuser. Can I say the podcast name for the? Sure. Thank you for asking to see through you. That is YouTube etiquette. I appreciate that. Yes, you can put the link in there or the podcast name. Or at least they would have been scared like Capricorn. She went to Best Buy. Capricorn said, we going to need a burner phone, okay? Capricorn said, we going to need. I know we've been trying to figure that out, Nick, when Cassie allegedly started. If she was using before. I don't think we've ever established that. What if Diddy got somebody to say that? We had the Bobby Brown Whitney situation. We was bashing Bobby for decades and then found out like, oh, Whitney introduced you to that? Oh, okay. My bad, Bobby. My bad. Every little step I take, my bad. Let me start blasting your music again. Those people were eating off of Cassie, whether it was selling her drugs, trips, or whatever. That's collective tribal. Yeah, and they probably were in spaces and places that they wouldn't have been, but for. But 30% of the time she stayed, according to Capricorn, when she was in California, she either stayed in a hotel or she stayed with her 30% of the time. So yeah, Diddy thought that he knew she wasn't about to do anything because everybody knew that was his girl. So if you work for him, then you know that we together. So ain't no way you about to be letting her out here talking to NFL players and NBA players and actors. And he was wrong. All of them was like, girl, get your groove on. He ain't nothing. Did you see him on Instagram with Gina? Shoot, he on a yacht right now with Kim. Girl, let me give you his number. That backfired. Liddell said all those things illegal things you mentioned are out of the statute of limitation, which is why they tried a RICO loophole that is falling apart. Man, we were loud. All of us were loud and wrong. We all owe Bobby an apology because I was like, not the pop princess. Oh, not that show. Remember that reality show they had? It was wild. They up there dancing. Remember this? They in the store. She putting on the sunglasses, hair all disheveled all over the place. We was like, not Whitney. Oh, she didn't even look like this or fall apart till she got with Bobby. So we blamed him for everything. It's like nobody even thought twice. And he never defended it. So you know he loved Whitney because we was dragging him. And he still didn't say, I didn't know about no. He did not tell people that till she died. That he got introduced to drugs because of her. And maybe it was they had a daughter together and he didn't want to put her mother out there like that, which is respect. Man, all of us HFG, she was. You said being Bobby Brown was my ish. It was definitely chaotic, Miss Bay thing. Tracy said, Pam, maybe I don't understand the prostitution charge. So are they saying Diddy was prostituting Cassie? Yeah, she is victim number one, and the Jane Doe is going to be victim number two under the prostitution counts. So both of them have there's counts. So you have Diddy with the RICO, Diddy with trafficking and prostitution for both Jane Doe, that I guess is going to testify tomorrow, and Cassie. Yeah, that's what they're saying is that basically they prostituted her. I guess by having the escorts come. They prostituted her, but didn't get no money, but paid some money. It's just a very interesting situation. Because usually with prostitution, the point is you make money off of getting the X. You don't give away money, like you don't give away money for it. So it's just all interesting. Tanika's 2 cents said all the male prostitutes too. He's not disputing. He's not disputing that. He's just saying. So initially, it sounds like when they first start out, they'll say they just doing it. You a stripper or something, so they hire you for that. And then if you want to go further, it's your prerogative. That's pretty much why how the escort service. People were like, why ain't they indicted? Because they don't advertise to have sex with these guys. It's if they want to. That's like with strippers. You on the pole, but if you choose to go home with a John or something that night, that has nothing to do with the strip club. You're hired here to strip. So that's their position. If they come there, it's just supposed to be to dance and put oil all over them, and he likes the view. And then if you want to go further, then you can. And then once they go further, of course, they coming back for more to keep going further. You know what? See through you said, I love me some crackhead. You know you wrong. And actually, Diddy didn't even smoke cigarettes prior to Cassie. Oh my. Do you know Diddy Lindell? Because you sound very familiar with the Combs family. Wonder Woman said, I thought the text said it was all Cassie's idea to have the FOs. So a lot of it was where she said, I'm always down for the FOs. She set it up. She would set up the room. Sometimes she would get the drugs. But of course, she was introduced to it by Diddy. And apparently she didn't really like it, but she never told him she didn't like it. She liked it at first and she was down, but then she didn't like it anymore. But she only told like her stylist and maybe somebody else that she didn't really want to go. But she didn't tell Diddy that. So that's where they're getting the coercion, almost like she was doing things she really didn't want to do. But to me, it just sounded far-fetched because I'm like, so you want Diddy to be a mind reader? And she said she kept doing it because she didn't want him to do it with anybody else. She said what her reasoning was. TA said Lindell giving facts, not in the evidence. Look at your rules of evidence skills increasing. It said she was the coordinator. Who is the escort in the hotel room when he assaulted Cassie? Was he ever interviewed? That's a good question, Wagon Dragon, and I don't have the answer to it. Sorry. You know what? I'm not doing this with you. All right, y'all. We've been on for 2 hours. We'll be back tomorrow because now I actually care about this lady's testimony, but it'll probably be at around 11 noonish. I'll probably do it when they go to lunch. I'll come back. So make sure y'all come back over here so we get the rest of the testimony. And Jane Doe is expected to testify. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you like the commentary and the dialogue that we have over here. I hope you guys enjoyed, as always. But y'all have a good night. Unless something spectacular happen, I don't think I'm gonna be back on. But you never know. So keep scrolling through YouTube because apparently a lot of people don't get notifications. So I guess that might be the only way. But until next time, I'll holler at you guys later.